ॐ स्फटिकरजतवर्णां मौक्तिकीमक्षमालाम् अमृतकलशविद्यां ज्ञानमुद्रां कराग्रे ददतमुरगकक्षं चन्द्रचूडं त्रिनेत्रं विधृतविविधभूषं दक्षिणामूर्तमीडे. My voice is not coming through. What is... This is not on. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Mahyam Medham Pragyam Prayachya Swaha. Mahyam Medham Pragyam Prayachya Swaha. We'll do 2 more times and we'll do it together. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Mahyam Medham Pragyam Prayachya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Mahyam Medham Pragyam Prayachya Swaha. And so I think we will not do the Dakshinamurti Stotram, and instead we'll do the Ashtotra Namavali, the 108 names, and you kindly follow after me, because last time I thought that you were hesitating, so we're not quite there yet. So we'll do a few more times. So this way I think in the next 20 minutes we can do the whole thing, and you can just follow right after my Om Omkara Simha Sarvendraya Namaha. Om Omkara Simha Sarvendraya Namaha. Om Omkarodhyana Kokilaya Namaha. Om Omkarodhyana Kokilaya Namaha. Om Omkaranida Shukaraje Namaha. Om Omkaranida Shukaraje Namaha. Om Omkararanya Namaha. Om Omkararanya Namaha. Om Nagaraja Sutajanaye Namaha. Om Nagaraja Sutajanaye Namaha. Om Nagaraj Nijalayaya Namaha. Om Nagaraj Nijalayaya Namaha. Om Navamanikyamadhyaya Namaha. Om Navamanikyamadhyaya Namaha. Om Navachandrashikhamanaye Namaha. Om Navachandrashikhamanaye Namaha. Om Nandita Shesha Maunindraya Namaha. Om Nandita Shesha Maunindraya Namaha. Om Nandishadimadeshikaya Namaha. Om Nandishadimadeshikaya Namaha. Om Mohanalasudhasaraya Namaha. Om Mohanalasudhasaraya Namaha. Om Mohambujasudhakaraya Namaha. Om Mohambujasudhakaraya Namaha. Om Mohandakarataranaye Namaha. Om Mohandakarataranaye Namaha. Om Mohodpalanabhomanaye Namaha. Om Mohodpalanabhomanaye Namaha. Om Bhaktagyanabdhishitanshabe Namaha. Om Bhaktagyanabdhishitanshabe Namaha. Om Bhaktagyanatrinalaya Namaha. Om Bhaktagyanatrinalaya Namaha. Om Bhaktamboj Sahasranshabe Namaha. Om Bhaktamboj Sahasranshabe Namaha. Om Bhaktakeki Ghana Ghanaya Namaha. Om Bhaktakeki Ghana Ghanaya Namaha. Om Bhaktakairvara Kendave Namaha. Om Bhaktakairvara Kendave Namaha. Om Bhaktakok Divakaraya Namaha. Om Bhaktakok Divakaraya Namaha. Om Gajananadi Sampujyaya Namaha. Om Gajananadi Sampujyaya Namaha. Om Gajacharmojjwalakritaye Namaha. Om Gajacharmojjwalakritaye Namaha. Om ओम गंगाधवल दिव्यांगाय नमः। ओम गंगाधवल दिव्यांगाय नमः। ओम गंगा पंकिल सज्जटाय नमः। ओम गंगा पंकिल सज्जटाय नमः। ओम गगना अंबर संवीताय नमः। ओम गगना अंबर संवीताय नमः। ओम गगना मुक्त मूर्धजाय नमः। ओम गगना मुक्त मूर्धजाय नमः। ओम वदनाब्ज चिताब्ज श्रिये नमः। ओम वदनाब्ज चिताब्ज श्रिये नमः। ओम वदनेन्दुस्फुरद्दिशाय नमः। ओम वदनेन्दुस्फुरद्दिशाय नमः। ओम वरदानैक निपुणाय नमः। ओम वरदानैक निपुणाय नमः। ओम वरवीणोज्ज्वलत्कराय नमः। ओम वरवीणोज्ज्वलत्कराय नमः। ओम वनवास समुल्लासाय नमः। ओम वनवास समुल्लासाय नमः। ओम वनवीरैकलोलुपाय नमः। ओम वनवीरैकलोलुपाय नमः। ओम तेजः भुञ्जगणाकाराय नमः। ओम तेजः भुञ्जगणाकाराय नमः। ओम तेजसामपि भासकाय नमः। ओम तेजसामपि भासकाय नमः। ओम विनेयानां तेजः प्रदाय नमः। ओम विनेयानां तेजः प्रदाय नमः। ओम तेजोमय निजाश्रमाय नमः। ओम तेजोमय निजाश्रमाय नमः। ओम दमितानंग संग्रामाय नमः। ओम दमितानंग संग्रामाय नमः। ओम दरहासजितांगनाय नमः। ओम दरहासजितांगनाय नमः। ओम दयारससुधा सिंधवे नमः। ओम दयारससुधा सिंधवे नमः। ओम दरिद्रधनुषे वधये नमः। ओम दरिद्रधनुषे वधये नमः। ओम क्षीरेन्दुस्फटिकाकाराय नमः। ओम क्षीरेन्दुस्फटिकाकाराय नमः। ओम क्षीरेन्दु मुकुटोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ओम क्षीरेन्दु मुकुटोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ओम क्षीरोपहार रसिकाय नमः। ओम क्षीरोपहार रसिकाय नमः। ओम क्षिप्रैश्वर्यफलप्रदाय नमः। ओम क्षिप्रैश्वर्यफलप्रदाय नमः। ओम नानाभरणमुग्धांगाय नमः। ओम नानाभरणमुग्धांगाय नमः। ओम नारी सम्मोहनाकृतये नमः। ओम नारी सम्मोहनाकृतये नमः। ओम नागब्रह्मरसास्वादिने नमः। ओम नागब्रह्मरसास्वादिने नमः। ओम नागभूषणभूषिताय नमः। ओम नागभूषणभूषिताय नमः। ओम मूर्तिनिन्दितकन्दर्पाय नमः। ओम मूर्तिनिन्दितकन्दर्पाय नमः। ओम मूर्तामूर्तजगद्वपुषे नमः। ओम मूर्तामूर्तजगद्वपुषे नमः। ओम मूलाज्ञानतमोभानवे नमः। ओम मूलाज्ञानतमोभानवे नमः। ओम मूर्तिमत्कल्पपादपाय नमः। ओम मूर्तिमत्कल्पपादपाय नमः। ओम तरुणादित्यसङ्काशाय नमः। ओम तरुणादित्यसङ्काशाय नमः। ओम तन्त्रीवादनतत्पराय नमः। ओम तन्त्रीवादनतत्पराय नमः। ओम तरुमूलैकनिलयाय नमः। ओम तरुमूलैकनिलयाय नमः। ओम तप्तजाम्बूनदप्रभाय नमः। ओम तप्तजाम्बूनदप्रभाय नमः। ओम तत्त्वपुस्तोलसत्पाणये नमः। ओम तत्त्वपुस्तोलसत्पाणये नमः। ओम तपनोडुपलोचनाय नमः। ओम तपनोडुपलोचनाय नमः। ओम यमसन्नुत सत्कीर्तये नमः। ॐ यमसंयुत सत्कीर्तये नमः। ॐ यमसंयम संयुताय नमः। ॐ यमसंयम संयुताय नमः। ॐ यतिरूपधराय मौनिने नमः। ॐ यतिरूपधराय मौनिने नमः। ॐ यतीन्द्रोपास्य विग्रहाय नमः। ॐ यतीन्द्रोपास्य विग्रहाय नमः। ॐ मन्दारहाररुचिराय नमः। ॐ मन्दारहाररुचिराय नमः। ॐ मदनायुतसुन्दराय नमः। ॐ मदनायुतसुन्दराय नमः। ॐ मन्दस्मितलसत्वक्त्राय नमः। ॐ मन्दस्मितलसत्वक्त्राय नमः। ॐ मन्दस्मितलसत्वक्त्राय नमः। ॐ मन्दस्मितलसत्वक्त्राय नमः। ॐ मधुराधरपल्लवाय नमः। ॐ मधुराधरपल्लवाय नमः। ॐ मञ्जीरमञ्जुपादाब्जाय नमः। ॐ मञ्जीरमञ्जुपादाब्जाय नमः। ॐ मणिपट्टोलसत्कटये नमः। ॐ मणिपट्टोलसत्कटये नमः। ॐ हस्ताङ्कुरितचिन्मुद्राय नमः। ॐ हस्ताङ्कुरितचिन्मुद्राय नमः। ॐ हठयोगपरोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ हठयोगपरोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ हंसजप्याक्षमालाढ्याय नमः। ॐ हंसजप्याक्षमालाढ्याय नमः। ॐ हंसे द्वाराध्यपादुकाय नमः। ॐ हंसे द्वाराध्यपादुकाय नमः। ॐ मेरुशृङ्गतटोल्लासाय नमः। ॐ मेरुशृङ्गतटोल्लासाय नमः। ॐ मेघश्याममनोहराय नमः। ॐ मेघश्याममनोहराय नमः। ॐ मेधाङ्कुरालवालाग्र्याय नमः। ॐ मेधाङ्कुरालवालाग्र्याय नमः। ॐ मेधाङ्कुरालवालाग्र्याय नमः। ॐ मेधाङ्कुरालवालाग्र्याय नमः। ॐ मेधापक्वफलद्रुमाय नमः। ॐ मेधापक्वफलद्रुमाय नमः। ॐ धार्मिकान्तर्गुहावासाय नमः। ॐ धार्मिकान्तर्गुहावासाय नमः। ॐ धर्ममार्गप्रवर्तकाय नमः। ॐ धर्ममार्गप्रवर्तकाय नमः। ॐ धामत्रयनिजारामाय नमः। ॐ धामत्रयनिजारामाय नमः। ॐ धर्मोत्तममनोरथाय नमः। ॐ धर्मोत्तममनोरथाय नमः। ॐ प्रबोधोद्गारदीपश्रिये नमः। ॐ प्रबोधोद्गारदीपश्रिये नमः। ॐ प्रकाशितजगत्र्याय नमः। ॐ प्रकाशितजगत्र्याय नमः। ॐ प्रज्ञाचन्द्रशिलाचन्द्राय नमः। ॐ प्रज्ञाचन्द्रशिलाचन्द्राय नमः। ॐ प्रज्ञामणिवराकराय नमः। ॐ प्रज्ञामणिवराकराय नमः। ॐ ज्ञानान्तरभासात्मने नमः। ॐ ज्ञानान्तरभासात्मने नमः। ॐ ज्ञातृज्ञादिविदुरगाय नमः। ॐ ज्ञातृज्ञानादिविदुरगाय नमः। ॐ ज्ञानज्ञाद्वैतदिव्यांगाय 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 नमः। ॐ ज्ञातृज्ञादिकुलागताय नमः। ॐ ज्ञातृज्ञादिकुलागताय नमः। ॐ ज्ञातृज्ञादिकुलागताय नमः। ॐ ज्ञातृज्ञादिकुलागताय नमः। ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताग्र्याय नमः। ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताग्र्याय नमः। ॐ प्रणतार्थव्यवाडवाय नमः। ओम प्रणतार्थ्यवाडिवाय नमः। ओम प्रणतार्थ्यवाडवाय नमः। ओम भूतानां प्रमाणभूताय नमः। ओम भूतानां प्रमाणभूताय नमः। ओम प्रपंचहितकारकाय नमः। ओम प्रपंचहितकारकाय नमः। ओम यत्तत्त्वमसि संवेद्याय नमः। ओम यत्तत्त्वमसि संवेद्याय नमः। ओम यक्षगेयात्मवैभवाय नमः। ओम यक्षगेयात्मवैभवाय नमः। ओम यज्ञादिदेवतामूर्तये नमः। ओम यज्ञादिदेवतामूर्तये नमः। ओम यजमानवपुर्धराय नमः। ओम यजमानवपुर्धराय नमः। ओम छत्राधिपति विश्वेश्वाय नमः। ओम छत्राधिपति विश्वेशाय नमः। ओम छत्राधिपति विश्वेशाय नमः। ओम छत्राधिपति विश्वेशाय नमः। ओम छत्रसामरसेविताय नमः। ओम छत्रसामरसेविताय नमः। ओम छन्दशास्त्रादिनिपुणाय नमः। ओम छन्दशास्त्रादिनिपुणाय नमः। ओम छलजात्यादिदूरगाय नमः। ओम छलजात्यादिदूरगाय नमः। ओम स्वाभाविकसुखैकात्मने नमः। ओम स्वाभाविकसुखैकात्मने नमः। ओम स्वानुभूतिरसोदधये नमः। ओम स्वानुभूतिरसोदधये नमः। ओम स्वाराज्यसम्पद्ध्यक्षाय नमः। ओम स्वाराज्यसम्पद्ध्यक्षाय नमः। ओम स्वात्माराम महामतये नमः। ओम स्वात्माराम महामतये नमः। ओम हाटकाभजटाजूटाय नमः। ओम हाटकाभजटाजूटाय नमः। ओम हासोदस्तारिमण्डलाय नमः। ओम हासोदस्तारिमण्डलाय नमः। ओम हालाहलोज्ज्वलगलाय नमः। ओम हालाहलोज्ज्वलगलाय नमः। ओम हार्दग्रन्थिविमोचकाय नमः। ओम हार्दग्रन्थिविमोचकाय नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम श्री दयानंद सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम श्री दयानंद सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम श्री महेशानंद सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम श्री महेशानंद सद्गुरवे नमः। स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ऋकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्त्वन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Let's chant the Karika verses 19 through 23. Number 19, starting with number 19. Vishwasya Atva Vivakshayam. Vishwasya Atva Vivakshayam.
Vishwasya Atva Vivakshayam.
Adi Samanya Mutkatam.
Adi Samanya Mutkatam.
Adi Samanyam Utkatam.
Adi Samanya Mutkatam.
Matra Sampratipattau Syat.
Matra Sampratipattau Syat.
Apti Samanyam Evacha.
Apti Samanyam Evacha.
Taijasasya Utva Vijnane.
Tejasya Utva Vijnanam.
Taijasya Utva Vijnane.
Tejasya Utva Vijnanam.
Utkarsham Drishyate Utkarsha, is it?
No, Sputam. Sputam.
No, Utkarsh.
Utkarsho Drishyate.
Something is not quite on this.
Is it Vignya?
Utkarsha.
Because I have Vignya.
Utkarsha.
It is Vijnana.
Let me look at, excuse me for just a second. I want to double check this. This is the last time also same thing came up. Something not correct in the printing. Utkarsho. Okay. Utkarsho drishyate sputam.
Utkarsho Drishyate Sputam.
Matra sampratipattau syat.
Matra Sampatipattau Syat.
Ubhayatvam tatha vidam.
Ubhayatvam tatha vidam.
Makara bhave prajnasya.
Makara bhave pragyasya.
Manasamanyam utkatam.
Manasamanya Utkatam.
Matra sampratipattau tu.
Matra Sampatipattau tu.
Laya samanyam evacha.
Laya Samanyam Evacha.
Trishudhamasu sat. Trishudhamasu yattulyam.
Trishudhamasu Yatulyam.
Samanyam vetti nishchitaha.
Samanyam Vidishishara.
Sapujyah sarvabhutanam.
Sapujya Sarvabhutanam.
Vandyaschaiva mahamunihi.
Vandaschaiva Mahamuni.
Akaro nayate vishwam.
Akaro Nayate Vishwam.
Ukaraschapi taijasam.
Ukaraschapi Tejasam.
Makarascha punah pragyam.
Makarascha Punah Pragyam.
Namatre vidyate gatihi.
Namatre Vidyate Gatihi.
Okay, good. So just a quick revision about the verses number 19, 20 and 21. So here there is the Omkara Dhyanam. So the Omkara Upasanam is being taught about. The benefit of focusing. So Dhyanam really means focusing. My Acharya Swami Dayananji used to avoid the word concentration. It's just some words, but it has some meaning. So concentration has a negative tendency, Please concentrate on this. And I'm not able to do it, and and so on. So focus is a softer word. And doesn't require any kind of a baggage to say that you. So focus means, and it's a very natural thing. That also has to be seen. It's not something which is extraordinary that we are not used to. Anytime you are watching some, this thing called breaking news. It was so nice in the beginning. You really believed. Now CNN has breaking news the whole day long. They've really completely spoiled the whole thing. Because they felt that it is a nice thing when you write down breaking news, then people tend to focus. Because otherwise you are just doing some general thing, you're reading a book and some TV is going on and so on. But all of a sudden if there is a breaking news, you tend to focus. So we do this naturally. Similarly, when reading a book or listening to music, we just focus. That's all dhyanam really means. There's nothing. So the only thing here is dhyanam on what? Breaking news, you dhyanam on some breaking news, But here the dhyanam is on something which you are just vaguely looking at it. You're looking at it because the self, the Atma and all of its expressions in life and all of that is present right behind you. So it's not as though you're not looking at it. But no, you're not looking at it with the kind of attention and focus which really does amazing wonders. We went through this on the Tuesday night class, this very nice example really. So the example is that the sun is a source of heat, tremendous amount of heat. In fact, it generates the entire heat of the universe. That's how Ishvara has designed it. So it has a lot of heat. But if you just put a piece of paper and tell the sun, please burn this, it's not able to burn it. Not able to burn it. Except if you focus the sunlight on the paper. And if with the use of convex lens, you focus the sunlight, it burns the paper. Which is a remarkable thing. I'm sure that all of you may have seen it when we were young. So our uncles and aunts, they all showed us this. And it's a remarkable thing. You just focus on this and nothing happens for a while. Then the paper starts to get black. Then smoke comes out. It is an amazing thing. All it means is that by focusing, you can do amazing things. It's there in general, and we kind of don't really put a lot of attention to it. But if you're able to focus on it, it is just amazing. So in terms of focus, there are two aspects to this. One is called, dhyanam has two aspects to it. One is called ekagrata. Ekagrata. Ekagrata means just a general focus. General focus. And the other one is tattva sakshatkaranam. These are, and I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to really, and I should do that from now on, bring the TV out and then write it all down, and I will get into a habit of doing so. Part of it is that it's, the equipment is kind of hard to get out and so on. But anyway, we will do that. So the difference is as follows, that ekagrata means you can do a focus on anything. And usually, for example, you can focus on a flame. You just have a flame and you just keep looking at it, focus on the flame. Don't allow any other thoughts to interfere. Or try not to. And it's natural, you just keep looking at the flame or something else. And in Gita it says that you even look at the tip of your own nose. That's because it's always available, hopefully. And so you can focus on that. So this is called ekagrata. And similarly, you can focus on, so this is what is called pratima. Pratima means a physical form. You can focus on pratika. So the Om is a pratika. So you just say Om. You can just keep focusing on the sound Om. So this is what is called ekagrata. Ekagrata means that you develop the skill of focusing on something. But and in fact there is a benefit on focusing on the Ishvara's name Om. So you get some punya, some blessing just by saying Om. But just by saying Om, you don't have the sakshat tattva karanam. You don't get the vision of the truth. You don't get the vision of the truth. And so for getting the vision of the truth, so what is called tattva sakshat karanam, which is the second aspect of dhyanam, you need to know the meaning of what you are focusing on. This actually is, I'm taking it slightly backwards, but since I started it, I might as well finish it. And so this is really the explanation of, it doesn't matter, number 23. Swami Maheshananji has given this very beautiful explanation of the difference between ekagrata and tattva sakshat karanam as part of dhyanam. He gives a beautiful, just a marvelous explanation. He says, take the word Krishna. And Rama also, but his explanation with Krishna is a little more detailed, so I might as well just go with that first. And so all of this is to explain what you need to do about understanding Om. Akaratva, akaratvam, so Atva, then Utva and Makara, which we have already done. But to give a commentary on the importance of understanding the meaning of that, this explanation is being given. Okay? So, Swami Maheshananji says, take the word Krishna. So, if you either see a pratima of Krishna or Vishnu, here let's say take Krishna, and you also take the name of Krishna, it has a lot of benefit to you. Just remembering Krishna, Krishna, or Rama has a lot of benefit to it. But it does not reveal to you the true meaning of Krishna, which, if you were to understand, really gives you tattva grahanam. So the first one is ekagrata, which is okay. But if you knew the meaning of it, and so what kind of meaning? So here in the Krishna, of course, is an avatar of Vishnu. So he focuses on the Sudarshana Chakram that he is holding on his hand. And so you may have a pratima of, usually it's very hard to make, I guess, so you cannot make a chakram. You can make some kind of a circle with a connection to the finger or something, but maybe it's easier to done on a picture. It doesn't matter. So Sudarshana Chakra also, it gives you a certain idea of what Vishnu is, what Krishna is, and so on. But if you knew the meaning of Sudarshana Chakram, then you now have an insight as to who you are, where the Ishvara is, and what is your connection with them, and so on. So he says, look at this. Sudarshana Chakram means the way Ishvara has done the creation of the whole universe. And Swami Dayananda also used to talk about the same thing. But in this case, putting it together in an example was very, very useful to me. You just look at this. Really speaking, the entire creation is in the form of chakra, circular. You take anything, and if you analyze it, you will see that basically it is a chakra. So, for example, you look at the microcosmic creation, which is electrons, protons, molecules, you'll find it doesn't appear to be that. So, for example, this table doesn't appear to be a chakram, but it is a chakram. It consists of chakram. In fact, if you were to look at it with a microscope, with the right instruments, you will see the electrons rotating. Similarly, the life of a living being is a chakra. We don't see it that way. We see it as a straight line. This person is born such and such time. He has so much life, and at the end of that, the person is gone. And so you look upon the life of a person as a straight line. In fact, it is a chakra. Because it goes back to a new sharira, but the sukshma sharira remains the same. And then due to some karma and due to some your kamana and so on, a new parent will be selected, and you'll come back, you will take a birth. It's a chakra. And Swami Maheshanandji, look at the travel of water. It doesn't look like a chakram, but it's a chakra. The source of all water is the heating of the ocean. So the water extracts from the ocean, becomes clouds, and travels to the highest point of the earth, then drops down and slowly travels back to its very source, chakra. This is the Sudarshana Chakram of Vishnu and Krishna. And so really speaking, the difference between these two will be that in one, you are simply doing the recitation of Krishna without knowing the meaning. And you get some benefit. Instead of doing, a recitation of a drink or something like this, you're doing an Ishvara. So there is obviously a lot of benefit. Nothing like Tattva Grahanam. Then you begin to see, this is the thing, we don't understand the presence of Ishvara and the work of Ishvara until we are guided. And what you find is that the whole creation is made in the form of a circle. And if you have that insight, you submit yourself to it. You submit yourself to the fact that my life doesn't have an end. It will go on until I find that this is a circle and I can have some distance from it. That's a separate step. But the first step is to really see the quality of or the nature of the Srishti in the form of a circle. And so similarly, really speaking, now, so this is, okay, then another couple of things. I just noted it down when I was reviewing this. Another thing is, for example, the tree and the seed. So from the seed comes the tree, from the tree comes the leaves, the flowers, the fruits, and the fruits have seeds, and then you go back again. Same thing happens on food. So the food is coming from the earth in the form of fertilized food, becomes body, you inherit it. Then you eliminate the food, and then the elimination of the food goes back to the earth again, becomes seeds again, and you just do it. Another chakra. So this is one thing. Then Krishna is an entity which already resides in your heart. And this is what we were also discussing on the Tuesday night class on the first 7 verses, verses number 8 through the 11 on Panchadashi. The nature of Ananda is what Vidyaranya was talking about. So the nature of Ananda is that the Ananda already resides in your heart. It is not an outside thing from you. It appears to be outside. This is exactly the play of Maya. Really all Maya does is to make things appear different from what it is. So similarly, when you have a life which seems like a straight line, so when you have a inscription on the tombstone, this is what happens. 1908 birth and 1989 death. It looks like a straight line. It isn't. It's a circle. And so I don't know the nature of the circle. Similarly, I don't know that Ananda actually resides in my heart. And it is just a way of saying resides in my heart. It actually is me. But I don't know that. I am searching for it outside. This is the Krishna. Krishna resides in my heart. Krishna means akarshati yena, means the one that attracts you. And what attracts you is sukham, peace. And whenever you are peaceful, whenever you are happy, forget about peaceful, whenever you are happy at something, due to some reason, this is how we have become happy. This is really the big transformation in Vedanta. If you are happy due to a reason, you are an ajnani. If you are happy without a reason, you are a jnani. That's all. Because an ajnani feels, I'm so happy. And happiness is natural, obviously, because we never tell anybody, what's wrong with you? Why are you so happy? We always say, what's wrong with you? Why are you unhappy? So that's good, because we all know that happiness is natural to me. Nevertheless, we find if somebody is really happy and smiling, you ask the person, why are you smiling? You should be just normal, and so on and so forth, because this is our state. We have a little bit of happiness, a little bit of unhappiness, a little bit of don't care. It's all a blob. But if someone is sitting there with just a smile on his lips, you feel, what's wrong? What is this guy doing? Why is he smiling? So we all have to have a reason for this, for to be happy. This is ajnana. But a jnani understands that Krishna is within all of our hearts. In fact, Ishvara in the form of Krishna dwells in our heart. And so this is what attracts us, is the happiness that we have already. When it expresses itself, we love it. So that's another meaning of the word Krishna. I'm just giving you that the words of the Krishna need to be understood in all of its glory. So Sudarshana Chakram, then Akarshanam. Another one Swami Maheshananji gives is Krishna and Vishnu are dark in color. And the reason for that is that the black color includes all colors. So if you look at something, it is a fascinating thing if you look at it, really speaking. Just amazing. The difference between a dark color and a yellow color is this. In the dark color, everything is absorbed and nothing is put back again. In the yellow color, everything is absorbed except yellow. And the yellow is rejected and it comes back to you. So the Krishna is dark because it has all the colors in it. Remarkable. So therefore, there's more examples from here also. The flute. So this is what's called Nada Brahman. So the flute here creates a sound. And the sound itself is so beautiful. In fact, all music. This is why you find that in the Hindustani music, music was a prayer in the old days, and it got corrupted by the Muslims to make it into a pleasure. And so the kings would, for example, have, along with dances, and they would have some kind of a pleasurable music. Really, in the classical Hindustani music, Vedic music, it is an offering to the Lord. Because the music is also created by the Lord. Every time in fact, Swamiji used to say that, Swami Dayanand used to say that, just the voice of being able to talk, the voice of the larynx and so on, is an offering of the Lord. Without that, it's not possible. And music, the Nada Brahma. So that's another meaning of Krishna. So all of these are intended that if you understand this, then you are with the creation all the time. So here another thing that I think I can bring in, I'm doing it a little bit out of sequence, but doing the 4 or 5 verses together as a group. So this is not just a word-for-word meaning, but I'll give you the whole sense of what the Karika is saying about the Om. So take another aspect of it. In fact, as far as, I tell you what, now let me resume in an overall revision of 19, 20 and 21. When we come to number 21, then I'll explain this one concept that I was going to do. So just wait for a minute. So let's go back to 19, 20 and 21. So there, what we saw, just as a quick revision, that the three elements of Om, U and Makara, should allow me to understand the meaning of Om not just as an ekagrata, but also as a sakshatkara. Just like we saw in the other cases, Vishnu and so on. And this is not going to happen until you understand the very sense of the expression of Ishvara in this creation in the form of Om. So continuing with that thought, the so there are three aspects of Om that we should focus on and focus its meaning on. So one is We've already done all this, I'm just revising it, sort of summarizing it for you. So one is If you recall, what should remind us, it should be clarifying for us the fact, the singularity of sentience. The singularity of consciousness. And if you recall, the example given was that there is only one vastu which is intrinsically hot, which is fire. Other vastus can be incidentally hot, like water, or through metal or some other object. They can be conditionally. That's okay. Because if, imagine the creation, imagine the beauty of the creation. Supposing there's only fire that can be hot, everything else is completely not hot, how will the creation be? You cannot, you will miss the enormity of the creation. So this is what is called apanchikritam and panchikritam. So the Pancha Mahabhutas, they are pure in themselves, but they all have the ability of combining it with the others. So that combination creates the incidentalness of heat and fire and so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is that there is a singularity of fire, a singularity of heat rather, in the fire. That principle I have to keep in mind. That there is only one source of consciousness, which is Brahman. And then it gets transmitted into incidental nature of Brahman, which is a person who is alive. As you know very well, the fact that I am alive is true, but it is not entirely true. Now look at this. When you say I am alive, you ask somebody, are you alive or not? And the person says, yes, I'm alive. This is what happens when the person is really very sick. Very, very sick. I mean, it goes just the other day, one of our friends died. And his wife was telling me he had stomach cancer and he had been going downhill for a long time, and they were just doing a lot of chemotherapy, this, that, or the other. And we used to go meet with them, my wife and I. But finally one day, he could not take it anymore. And they were all holding his hands and so on. And how the prana leaves is very imperceptible. You just cannot tell easily. So you ask, this is what happens when you're When a person is very ill, you'll say, squeeze my hand. And so the person cannot talk, he cannot open the eyes and so on. But somehow the sense of touch is there. So if his spouse or his son or daughter is just holding his hand, and as long as he squeezes, that means he's alive. And when the squeezing leaves, it means he's gone. So when you say, are you alive, is the truth, is not the entire truth. Being alive is just a partial truth. You know what the truth is? I am. I am. I am alive is a conditional truth. The nature of the Atma is you are whether you are alive or not. Because if you're alive as a person, but you still are. So this is the singularity of consciousness, of sentience. There's only one sentience. And so you see the whole creation. A marvelous creation it is. It's one sentience. So when you say I, and I say I, it appears we are talking about two people. You know, this is what I think, I forget which of the Swamis gave this example. You say somebody knocks on the door and you say, who is it? And you say, I, me. And he said, wait a second, I is right here. You give your own name. Why should you say I to yourself? Because I is me. Everybody says I. I was going yesterday. I saw this person. Another person says I. It's the same person. So the Attva means the presence of the same person everywhere. And this is most visible in the waking state. This requires analysis, possible analysis only in the waking state. So this is one aspect of Om that we should see. Then the second aspect of Om is the U. U means the process of generating the copies. How copies are generated. This is a continuation. In fact, all these things should be considered as a whole. So what do you mean by considering it as a whole? First you should see is, just like, I'll go back to a simpler example. Just like, for example, you have heat of the fire, but you also have the beautiful creation where the heat can be modulated. So if you're giving a baby's bottle, then you have to see is it should not be too hot and should not be too cold. It should be just right. These babies are very finicky. You give them a milk which is a little bit too cold and they will spit it out. And if you give them too hot, then of course you injure them. So all the mothers have to quickly find out what is it should be slightly bigger, higher than room temperature. So the heat can be modulated. So the modulation, the process of modulating the inherent heat is done by the ukara. So the ukara, what it does is, it is not just understanding, in fact it is a reverse process. A reverse process in the mean that right now we are looking at everybody is a individual. separate individual. And it creates a certain problem for the I like that person, I don't like that person, and that person creates problem, and so on and so forth. But if we understood that it is all the same person, which is Ishvara, but also expressing itself in differences. So all modulation of heat is not the same. You cannot touch, we actually went to a restaurant, it's a Turkish restaurant the other day, I just gave an example. So they have a dish, which I don't remember the name of, but one of our Turkish neighbors, he introduced us to it. And it has to be baked in a metal, vessel. And this person comes in and says, this is hot. And I was not listening to it and so on. I touched it. It was so hot, really almost burned my finger. And so the modulation of the heat is not all the same. Sometimes you cannot heat the wood easily. Wet wood, not at all. Metal, easily. So, the ukara means the extraction of the truth in various ways. And one of the best examples of that, as Ishvara has given it to us, is in the dream state. In the dream state, the so-called reality of the Jagrat Avastha is modulated in some very strange ways. And so I should understand, and in fact it should help me to understand the creation, because in fact the whole thing is nothing but Ishvara, but modulated in a different way. This is the meaning of ukara. And another meaning of ukara, and here Gaudapada has in the verse number 20 given us a hint of that. Very interesting, and this is explained so well by Swami Maheshananji. Is Vijnani, the word Vijnanam. This is also going to come in the Gita class later on today. Jnanam and Vijnanam. So Vijnanam this is the aspect of ukara that we should think about. Vijnanam means a complete understanding of how the thing works. So Vijnanam means Visheshena Jnanam. So Jnanam means an introduction. But the introduction is always endowed with doubt. Yes, I understand it, but this is exactly what happens. Many of the questions from the students is all the same way. Yeah, Vedanta seems to make sense, but. So this but means that I don't quite get it. So Vijnanam, Swami Maheshananji spends a lot of time discussing this point. He says, please. Vijnanam means it takes time to understand. This is not an easy thing to see. But don't give up in the midstream and say, I am not sure, my doubts are not going, my problems are still there, and so on. I have to do something completely different. No, please, stick with it. So the second meaning of Vijnanam, so the first meaning is the extraction, the way the modulation occurs. Both of these meanings are given by Swami Maheshananji. The second meaning is Jnanam is relatively easy. Vijnanam takes a long time. Stick with it. So ukara means, and so what it really means is, you should see how the life is constituted, in the sense that people's karmas and the prarabdha karma is going to take a while keeps on. Don't, and you know, the example, this beautiful example is that if a fan is moving fast, and but the electricity is happens in India all the time. Here it doesn't happen, because here if you have to turn off the fan, you have to switch it off. In India you don't have to switch it off. You're sitting there and pretty soon the fan speed starts to lower. And you look up and it says, yes, electricity is gone. You're sitting in the daytime, there's no light or anything, so there's no other way of telling. So, but the fan is still moving. Still moving. So what happens? This is a very beautiful concept that we will look at it some other time. So this is what is called the difference between Ichha and Kamana. I'm just bringing in different aspects of this and so on. I may not finish this today. So the Ichha and Kamana is a very beautiful explanation. So there, the Ichha Shakti, there is a slight difference. This is how the Viveka has to be done. The Ichha Shakti is given by Ishvara. This is Ishvara's Srishti. It's called Ishvara Srishti. Ichha Shakti means that along with Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti, Ichha Shakti is given to you. So what it means is, as soon as the baby is born, there are certain requirements that it has, that please make me dry and make sure I'm fed regularly and make sure that I'm comfortable. This is Ichha Shakti. He didn't ask for it. It is given to him by Ishvara. So this is the Ichha Shakti. Then comes the Jiva Srishti. This is Ishvara Srishti. Ichha is the Ishvara Srishti. Jiva Srishti converts Ichha into Kamana. And what that means is, and to a certain extent even that also has some, it's not as though it's a clear dividing line between Ishvara Srishti and Jiva Srishti. They're mixed up to a certain point. So the ability for you to dream, I wish I could do this. I wish I could start this company. And I wish I could get married to that person. And so all this is mixture of Ichha Shakti and Kamana Shakti. But eventually, as the person becomes mature and you want to terminate this chakram, then it is important to do the viveka between Ichha Shakti and Kamana Shakti. And the way it is done is, you should simply be busy in fulfilling the Ishvara Srishti. And the Ishvara Srishti means, in the example of the fan, that it is going to continue to run even after the electricity is switched off. And it happens in India all the time. The electricity is gone for like 10 seconds, so the fan is stopping. And then it starts to run again. And you can only tell the electricity from the motion of the fan. So it is. This is a very important topic that is given in the 6th and 7th adhyaya of the Panchadashi. And so basically it is discussed in the context of the wrong understanding of Jivan Muktas. So a lot of other people feel this Advaita thing doesn't make any sense, Because to be Jivan Mukta, you find the Jivan Muktas also hungry, thirsty, also requiring food, also doing elimination, all these kinds of things. So they say this is not a Jivan Mukta. And the Jivan Mukta should be just sitting there doing nothing and just waiting for death. So we say that is stupid, fools, that's not true. Because the Ishvara Shrishti is still going on. The fan is still, but the Kamana is not there. It'll be very nice if I could do this. That feature is gone from their life. They are done. But the hunger and thirst and the love with the family and so on will continue. And so this is so going back to the and the U, the connection, is that you find that really speaking, they're all interconnected. So people are moving, people are behaving in the modulation of the Ishvara through their karma. They are what they are due to a lot of previous things. And you are too. Even the person who is a sadhaka also is the same way. But then switch off the kamana. Focus in just the fact that you are already complete. So Ichha will continue, but Kamana doesn't have to continue. And the sooner you transition to it, the better off you will be. Because right now you're convinced that Kamana is important. I got to do this, I've got to do this. You don't. You simply focus on the essential aspect of your life. And then you will find that you'll be happy at the end of that. Because why? Because it is already there within you. It's not as though you have to acquire anything from outside. So therefore, to summarize, the way of understanding Om is to see the totality of Ishvara's creation, how it works. Then the final aspect of the Om, which is Makara, and here Gaudapada uses the word, as you know, Bhava. Bhava. And in explaining this, I will go back to what I had suspended earlier, which I was going to talk about. So this is number 21, Bhava. So Bhava really means, so the Makara, which is exemplified by the deep sleep, as you know. So Aur exemplifies the Jagrat Avastha, U exemplifies the Swapna Avastha, and Mas exemplifies the Sushupti Avastha. What is the significance of that? The significance of that is it is possible to so-called touch Ishvara closely. And this is done without your even wanting to do it. In fact, we were distant from Ishvara because I'm too preoccupied. Krishna is always there in your heart, but you don't recognize it. He says, I don't know, it's not Krishna. I just need to go to a temple. And you go to a temple for about half hour, your heart melts and you're very happy. So you feel Krishna is in the temple because your heart only melted when you went to the temple. In fact, it does not need any melting. You are there all the time. It's just that you're so distracted. But in the deep sleep, you're given a sample of touching Ishvara. Not touching, you're already Ishvara. But because of your preoccupation, you feel I'm not touching. And Ishvara reminds you without your doing anything. Swami Dhananand used to say that. This is I remember when he first pointed out, it really had a deep impression on me. Very early on when I met him, he gave this thing. He says, what happens is that we are always walking around with a to-do list in our life. You ask somebody, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing very well. Totally happy? Well, not totally happy. Why aren't you totally happy? See, the thing is, my daughter is 27 and she's not getting married yet, and I'm worried about her. Okay, so this is to-do list number 1. My daughter should soon find somebody suitable. Anything else? Yeah, then I have these headaches that come in from time to time, and I don't know why. Okay, so this is to-do list number 2. Remove the headache. Like this we have 20 to 20, we have actually an infinite number of to-dos, but at least some major ones that immediately come to my mind. This is what happens. So you say, so you're not totally happy? No, I'm not totally happy. But if all these things happen, then I will be totally happy. Okay, then you go to sleep. Has your daughter been married? No, she's still single, fooling around with friends and so on and so forth. Your headaches are still there. You haven't figured out what's causing headaches. And you're still short of money, all those kinds of things. But you know what? It doesn't matter. You're totally happy. And I remember when Swami Dayanandji gave this explanation, that had a deep impression on me. Because I also had the same feeling that I've got to fulfill all these conditions in my life, otherwise I'm not going to be happy. And suddenly it just shocked me that in Ishvara's creation, it is possible. Swamiji also, I cannot do this because I don't have a lot of jokes like Swamiji does. But he used to give this principle, show this principle by showing some silly joke and making everybody laugh. And then he would say, listen, you're laughing. Have your 20 things been satisfied yet? No, they're still there. But you're laughing. Silly joke, you're laughing. And he would only do it after he actually gives the jokes. So he will do a lot of things and so on. You've seen this, you've heard this joke before. So there was, he used to say this, that there was a student who would come to my talks, and when there would be some jokes or something, everybody else would laugh except this guy. And so he was very serious, he wouldn't laugh. And so one day he sought out, I don't know if it really happened or he made it up, I have no idea whether Swamiji did or not. It was very difficult to tell the difference between these two. So one day this person came to him and said, Swamiji, I need to talk to you. You know that joke that you told the other day and I was not laughing? So I was showering the other day and suddenly I remembered it and I started laughing and the water went into my mouth. I was so happy. Swamiji said, really? What was your understanding? So he gave the understanding. So Swamiji says, when he gave that understanding, then I laughed. This was his stock joke. I'm happy that you also. So his point was that really speaking, and I tell you that really changed, believe it or not. You know, these things slowly have to make an impression on you. Because I was in the point where I say I've got to be successful and I have to be very good at what I'm doing, which I was not, and I have to be doing this which I could not do, and it was forever unhappy. That really just said, wow. So going back to the Makara, it means you touch Ishvara and you are totally happy. So the meaning of bhava is learn to touch Ishvara all the time. So it is almost like a progression in a way, that you see the presence of the singularity of sentience. You see that everything else is nothing but a modulation of sentience. And then you see that with the modulation and the singularity, you in fact, because you can say, so fine, if everybody is Ishvara, well, how does that help me? Fine, everything is a modulation, how does that help me? I'm still the unhappy as it is. No. Continue thinking like that, and you will discover that you are the very source. Ishvara is you. This touching business is just an expression. There is no touching. You are Ishvara. And so this is called bhava. So here, Swami Maheshananji gives a beautiful example. This is what I wanted to go back to. So he says, these are just examples. This can be done in many different ways. But a good, very important example. So you know the verse, the shloka that we chant, which is Namaste Vayo. Tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi. Tvameva pratyaksham brahma vadishyami. Ritam vadishyami. Satyam vadishyami. Tanmam avatu vaktaram, avatu mam, avatu vaktaram. You know this. So he says, and this is the truth really, it's not a make-believe or anything like this. Namaste Vayo. So to invoke the bhava in you. You say, how do I invoke the bhava in me? So one of the aspects of that is that really love, which is an expression of bhakti, devotion. Devotion, bhakti means love. And jnanam, knowledge, are very intricately connected with each other. It is difficult to love unless you know something. And it is difficult to know unless you love something. So both of them, this is what we say, this is not jnana marga and bhakti marga and karma kriya marga or anything. Not margas, they are all different expressions of the same thing. So here, the love, the bhakti, the bhava is given an expression. Namaste Vayo. So for example, we say, where is Ishvara? I don't know where Ishvara is. We have not seen him in Milpitas recently. He must be visiting Char Dham. Here he is not there. He is just an American town. And I want to go to Char Dham, and there I will meet Ishvara. Hey, this is silly. Namaste Vayo. So there it says, Vayu tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi. This is the sayings of a wise person. This is what we should see. What should we see? That Brahman is present everywhere. In fact, right in front of me as Vayu, Prana. I am in the Vayu. The Vayu is in me. I am born within the Vayu, born from Vayu, Hiranyagarbha. prana, prana shakti. It gives rise to me. It is sustaining me. I am not isolated. This is Vayu. This is Brahman. Where else would I find it? Only when you suppose the only way to convince you of that is to choke you, perhaps. Then you will realize how important Vayu is. You are Vayu. You are nothing but a product of the Vayu. Should this not be important for you to see? How difficult is it for you to love, to have a bhava? And this bhava has to be developed because you take it for so granted. Be familiar with it. So this is the meaning of the word bhava in the Makara. Yeah, we can spend some more time on this, but I wanted to finish verse number 22 also. And as a revision, we've already done that, but one more time revision. So I'm just going to spend a few more minutes just on that itself. So there it says, the result of my attempts in understanding the constituents of Om and to live a life understanding the very meaning of the constituents of Om. So the result of that is exemplified. Trishu dhamasu yat tulyam samanyam vetti nishchitaha sapujya sarvabhutanam vandyashchaiva mahamuni. So as a revision we did this. So what it says is that a person who is able to understand this and is not begging anymore. This is what happens in our life. We are sophisticated beggars. We don't realize it. Really, we are all beggars. Can I please do this? Can you please help me with this? Do I change my I want to go to some new places. This is not fun for me. Can something happen to me that make me begging? And instead what happens is, as you begin to see Trishu Dhamasu means in the three homes that I live in, which is Jagrat Avastha and the other Avasthas. If I'm able to see, my God, I have not appreciated all of this. If I'm able to do that, do you know what happens? I stop begging. It is like discovering that I have so much wealth that I didn't know about. Until then you feel I don't have enough wealth. I gotta get some more. Then you feel, you know what, I have enough wealth. In fact, but your tendency to transact with others remains the same. So then, this is all from Swami Maheshananji, by the way. I'm not just making it up. He says what happens is that a person like this now gives to others. Voluntarily, without asking for anything, because the transactional ability is still there. You are still dealing with people, but you're not hungry anymore. You're not hungry anymore. This is why charity is such a beautiful thing. In charity, what happens is we don't want to give some time, but you are egged on by saying this is the right direction. But a really charitable person says that I don't need it. So let somebody else get it. So this is why this kind of a person, he says, sapujya. So what happens is, people always gravitate to someone who is helpful. And this person can be very helpful. And another thing, very important thing, and I'll end with that. Again, this is a revision of what we already talked about. This is what is called Satya Kamata. Satya Kama. Satya Kamaha means whatever this person desires, such a person, he or she gets it. So we talked about this. So just as a quick revision, is it just some poetic kind of a thing, this person is so nice, whatever he gets and so on and so forth? It has to be understood. It has to be understood in the following context. Our kamana, so kamana, not the ichcha, but the kama, is both a source of dukkha and sukha. So, a kamana which is meant for an adharmic kriya is definitely dukkha. It may not give you right away, but you're going to suffer. So don't even think about that. So let's not even talk about that. That is adharma. But a kama for dharmic kriya, one which is good to do, can both be a source of dukkha or a sukha. And if I'm not able to distinguish between kamana and ichcha, what happens is that I do kamana for things that I'm not qualified for. So Maheshwarji gives this example that you only have 100 rupees in your pocket and you desire things that cost 500 rupees. And so then you maybe give a credit card, and you don't have enough money in the bank, and then you have to give all kinds of problems. Dukkha. But if you were to spend $100 on things, 100 rupees on things that do only cost 100 rupees, sukha. So what happens is, such a person modulates his or her desires for things that are very likely to be successful. You don't even try things. You don't go for things and so on. And you find that there is enough to go by where you are happy with what you have. And if you have to desire some things, fine, go ahead and do that, but nothing beyond your means. This is what is called apta kamata or satya kamata. And another thing that happens, Swamiji says, is that by teaching this, by offering this as a credible way of living, you help others also. And others are attracted to you because you are giving them a path for sukham. So that's why this verse is given, which says, Trishu dhamasu yattulyam samanyam vetti nishchitaha. I won't go into some of the samanyam vetti and all that. I think that's technicality. We don't have to do all of that. We could do that some other time. Anyway, sapujyaha sarvabhutanam vandeschaiva mahamuni. So he says that as a conduit for a way of life that gives sukham to everyone, that person is well sought after. So we don't need to be sought after, it's not necessary, but just happens to be that way. And but himself or herself And I can tell you this really honestly, my level of sukham has increased because I don't act irrationally. I only do things that are rational and they have a much higher probability of happening. I can see this in my life. My life has also changed. And I'm still progressing. I'm not done yet. But I'm very happy. I mean, if you look at our aim for seva, it's just, then you just leave it all to Ishvara. You just do the best you can. So I continuously, a lot of my friends will say, oh my God, you must be under so much pressure. I said, no. Honestly, I'm not. I'm just telling you. There is something that was asked me to undertake, and I do it, and I don't go in for, do whatever happens. It has been just phenomenal. Very enjoyable. So and this is not my only example. I can give you other things in my life. So this apta kamata, this satya kamata just comes in your life. And you're just satisfied with your life as it is. This is the discovery of the self. What else is there? This is how you have to see that really I don't have to, because the whole thing is I'm not importing happiness from outside. I'm discovering happiness from within me. That's it. This is the big switch that has to happen. And it doesn't happen. We all have doubts about it. And others help us maintaining that doubt. That's the problem. A lot of other people say, oh, you're not even doing this, you should try that. And for a while you say, okay, maybe I should try it. Maybe that's not a bad idea. I don't know. This one person says I shouldn't try it, but who does he know? You have to convince yourself. So this is what is called Atma Kripa. So Ishvara Kripa and Shastra Kripa and Guru Kripa all has to funnel through Atma Kripa. You have to be convinced that this is a lifestyle which I must do. So anyway, this is the meaning of, so beautiful, how Gaudapada has really explained this. And then on top of that, Swami Maheshanandji with his experience and so on has further elucidated that, how the meaning of Om should affect us in our lives. So with that I'll close. Om Swasti Prajabhyav Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityo Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Sorry, didn't leave any time for questions today. Just wanted to finish I think we're pretty much done with that. And one more verse left on 23, and then we will go back to the remaining last verse of the Mandukya itself. And so then the Agama Prakarana will be finished, and then we will go into some other things later on. So.